is a weak type, that it is 33 kV, it cannot, it is for cooling beer. Oh, I was really angry. So it should be, why would they not tell me that we have a phase to, you know, I didn't know. So then we started now afresh. Now that we knew what to do, we had to start afresh to take now the bigger current, the one that they took. This is the one they are talking about here. Once it arrives, Karamoja is going to become a big industrial center. Because there is cement there is marble, there are other minerals like gold, you know. So, you leaders, if you want to develop your areas, don't depend on the Lutich. They are not bothered, they're just there, and I think they got damaged during the colonial system. Then during all these governments, no patriotism, no linkage with the people. Whatever I did in my area, I was linked with the people. I was representing, struggling for my father to become a modern person. And the people around him, the villagers. So now, Opuyo Moroto, finally, they are going to get now the 132 kV, which I assumed had gone the other time when I was calling investors to come to Karamoja, when there was not enough power there. Opuyo substation upgrade, works are ongoing at 40%. Construction of Kawanda Kapeka, 132 kV. 132 kV Lira, Guru, Nebi, Arua transmission line. This is the one which will solve the problem of West Nile. But recently we took their diesel generators. They are helping, but the real solution is this one here. The procurement of contractors is ongoing for the following lines: 132 kV Mirama Kaware transmission, 80 kilometers. Because we have got a big iron ore deposit in Kaware and want to build a steel industry there. So we need this power there. 400 kV Masaka Mbarara, Guru Agago, 132 kV overhead transmission line, and so on. Completion of the projects above will make additional 1,300 kilometers of transmission lines, bringing the total power grid coverage to over 3,550 kilometers of high voltage power lines from the current 2,258. The primary substation will increase from the current 25 to 42. This will enable delivery of power to the existing and newly identified load centers. Government rural electrification program focus has mainly been on grid extension projects and project prioritization criteria, during putting into consideration other factors of social equity and equitable regional distribution. Government has consequently implemented over 10,000 kilometers of medium voltage power lines and approximately 9,000 kilometers of low voltage distribution power lines. This has translated into the connections of over 1.3 million customers onto the national grid and the increment of the rural electrification access rate from 1% in 2001 to 13% in 2019. This means that a total of 7.8 million Ugandans are now linked to grid power, to the main line. Additionally, another 500 customers are connected to power off grid, like the solar. There is a young American lady who is developing solar power in Soroti area there. Now that one is called off-grid. That one is helping 3 million people to access power off-grid. So, on grid, 7.8 million, off-grid, 3 million. That is about 11 million people. They now have electricity, either off-grid or off-grid. That will be like about 25%, because the population is 41 million. With nearly all the district headquarters supplied with electricity, the agenda is now to connect all the sub-counties by 2022. Government is promoting use of renewable energy technologies in the country that include solar system for lighting rural homes and for the national grid. The country now has 40 megawatts of solar grid connected systems. With minerals, in line with the new mineral policy and mining legislation, government developed a mechanism for biometrically registering all artisanal and small-scale miners in the country. In this regard, biometric registration for small artisans in Uganda commenced in January 2019. The value of minerals produced was worth Uganda shillings 158 billion, and revenue amounting to Uganda shillings 16.7 billion was generated as non-tax revenue. The investor, Guangzhou Dongsong Energy Group Company, installed a phosphate processing plant in Tororo and is already developing the Sukuru phosphate resource into phosphates. They are also going to produce steel, glass, cement, and brick products. Again, on the side of power, the ones which will be commissioned in the near future, the power stations, there is Karuma, that one we have already talked about, Waki, there is also Sindila, Ndugutu, Nyamugasani 1, 15 megawatts, Nyamugasani 2, 5 megawatts, Chikagate, 16 megawatts. Then you have Karuma Isimba hydropower stations, you have Muzizi, and so on. One of the most dynamic ways to expand an economy is for the government to invest in the construction of roads, airports, schools, hospitals, railways, government offices, waterworks, and power dams, using labor-intensive technology to absorb some of the unemployed youth. Okay. Financing infrastructure development is a tested method to increase employment, accelerate growth, increase incomes, and increase savings. The key results under the roads on both the national, district, urban, and community access roads network are summarized below. Oh, there are so many roads here. If I read them, they will kill you. Mukono chetu mekato sinyenga, Oruyo Guru, Bulima Kaboya, Aksi Moroto, Kanon Sembabure, Villa Maria, Kashenyi Mitoma. This one is of Otafire, the one who wanted Taman. Nansana Busunju, Fort Portal Chenjojo, the Nairo Bridge, Nakarasi and Kabogo bridges, and so on, so many roads here. Kampala flyover, Rukunjiri Chihi, Shashaka Nungu, Masaka Mkakata, Parisaka Monkori, upgrading of Kapchorwa Swamp, yeah, so you read all of this here. Maybe here what I could read is mention rehabilitation works on Entebbe International Airport. That is all in the works. Revival of the national airline. The two Bombardier CRJ 900s were received on the 23rd of April 2019. Government revived the national carrier, which had stopped operations many years ago. Commercial operations are expected to commence in July 2019. The other two Bombardier CRJ 900s are expected in July and September. And recruitment of key staff for the national airline is completed. In the transport sector, we moved to solve the issue of air transport. Ugandans like traveling. Oh, Banange. They like traveling. Each year, they were donating US dollars, 450 million to other countries through foreign travel. Besides, there was a lot of inconvenience to traveling Ugandans by not having direct flights and even being charged discriminatively airfares. Since banks were wasting our time, we paid cash. You know, some of these banks are not serious. You know, there was one bank that, I said, watch our. We have money, it's just that. Two aircrafts, Bombardiers, are already here, and another two will come in the month of July and September, as I have said. These will be for regional travels. We shall straight away go for intercontinental flights to a few high-volume destinations of travelers to and from Uganda, and we are acquiring 2 Airbuses for that purpose. Those will come in December 2020, and the other one will come in January 2021. That will be just before the... Some of the people should know the right address, and then you... The standard gauge railway, government continues to fast-track the development of the standard gauge railway with the expectation to improve the quality of transport systems and provide a globally competitive quality service. This standard gauge railway took a bit of time because in Africa and in Uganda, there are a lot of flies. And whenever there's some little food, flies come all over the place. But you know, I've got so we really had to struggle because so many people wanting to distort. But now we have got a good formula, a good package, and we shall conclude so that we start building the standard gauge railway. When we sign, then we will see what we would have signed. But as we are waiting, We have already acquired 93.9 acres of land for the right of way, and 376 project affected persons were compensated. The Uganda Railways Corporation reinstated freight services across Lake Victoria and passenger train services in the Nama and the Kampala passenger line. This is the old line. The old line also we are repairing it. The old line. Averages of 18,000 metric tons of cargo per month and 2,000 passengers per day were being moved using the freight and passenger train services respectively. Resettlement action plan for the rehabilitation of Tororo-Gulu railway line was approved, and procurement of a contractor for rehabilitation works is in final stages. Rehabilitation works are planned to commence during the first quarter of financial year 2019-20. We need to repair that line to Pakwach, and also because the standard gauge, when we start building it, it will take some time, maybe 2 years or 3. So what shall be happening? We want to start using the old line because it is cheaper than the road transport. And that's why we want to revive it. 170 water vessels were, this is marine safety. 170 water vehicles were inspected, of which 131 inland vessels were approved and licensed to provide transport services mainly on lakes Victoria, Kyoga, and Albert. Also, 12 locations for the establishment of search and rescue facilities have been identified on Lake Victoria, Kyoga, and Albert. 400 kilometers equivalent of roads will be upgraded to bitumen standard. 332 kilometers equivalent to rehabilitated, reconstructed, and 58 bridges constructed. Again, these are the roads. You will read them. There are so many of them here. Mpiji, Kanuni, Kabrasoke, Ruero, these are the new ones, like Ruero, Tarangwa, Muyembe na Kapiripirit, Ruenkunyu, which my people in the north cannot pronounce. They say Ruenkunye. It is Ruenkunyu. Ruenkunyu, I came to learn in Runyoro, they are called Enkunguru in Runyankore. You get something which is like a swamp, but with small anthills, many small anthills. They are called Enkunguru in Runyankore, but apparently in Runyoro they are called Enkunyu. So this is Ruenkunyu. Ruenkunyu, Apach, Achoriburu. This road was going to cause me some problems with my Langi people, and they were saying that I'm paying more attention to the Achori side and I've forgotten this side, but very soon everybody will be laughing. Ruenkunyu, Apach, Achoriburu, 191 kilometers. These are long roads, 191 kilometers. Busegampigi, want to make this Busegampigi an expressway with a number of Nayanankumbi, Busabara, Munyonyo. There are some roads there which are dusty in that town, some town area. Chira, Matuga. Nakaseke single road. Atiak Laropi, Moroto Loktanyara. Then the oil roads, Karugutu, Ntoroko, Don't worry, you're about to survive my speech. But the other man is not representing his people, so I don't know. So the oil roads, Karugutu, Ntoroko, and Kaboya, Buhuka, Masindi, Biso, Hohwa, Nyarwongwa, Karusheshe, Butore, and Kabari, Kizaramfumbi, Rusari, Rankonge, and then there are also these town roads. There's a project called Dukar or Duchar or whatever. It is a district something something. And we are doing a number of roads in Butareja, Buyende, Ruero, Kamuli, Mayuge, Serere, Chenkwanzi, Buheju, Dokolo, Hoima, Kapchorwa, Moroto, Kasese, Arua, Ajumani, Sironko, Blamburi, Rubanda, Kayunga, Mukono, Kariro, and Rakai. The other man never comes to meeting, so that will Tamaguzi Pharaoh. Ngenda kulopa nto onotajja mu lukiiko. Ngenda kumulopa. Upgrade selected urban roads in Gulu. If you go to Gulu now, the area has changed. Now you see Lamera claiming a baby who is. I don't want to fight with Lamera over the child, like the other women whom Solomon had sought out. Because my sister, she's saying the baby is hers. But from what I heard, the baby belonged to somebody else. Okay, we share. No, we share by bringing up the baby together. So the roads in Gulu, Mitiana Municipal Council, Liantonde, Kabalore, Kapchorwa, and so on. This urban road program will continue. It is a good one, really. It makes the towns look smart. On the side of tourism, tourism has increasingly become important to Uganda's economy. It is a driving force in propelling economic growth and continues to be the leading foreign exchange earner for Uganda, generating US dollars 1.5 billion foreign exchange earnings in 2017 compared to 1.37 billion in 2016. In 2018, the sector registered increased performance as reflected in the visits to Uganda's national parks and other sites such as Uganda Wildlife Education Center and the source of the Nile. Visitors to national parks increased by 39,000 from 285,000 to 325,000 in 2018. Although the proportion of leisure visitors to total visitor arrivals is still relatively small, it increased from 18% in 2016 to 20% in 2017. And tourist arrivals in Uganda have steadily increased from 850,000 2008 to over 1.4 million arrivals in 2017. The direct contribution of tourism to GDP in 2017 was Uganda shillings 2.6 trillion, which is 2.9% of GDP, while the total contribution, including wider effects from investment, the supply chain, and induced income impacts, was Uganda shillings 6.8 trillion. That is 7.3% of GDP, up from 6 trillion in 2016. In terms of contribution to employment in the economy, tourism generated 229,000 jobs directly in 2017. This is 2.4% of total employment. This includes employment by hotels, travel agents, airlines, and other passenger transportation services. The overall goal for the government is to attract 4 million tourist arrivals and increase the contribution of tourism to GDP from shillings 7.3 trillion to shillings 14.6 trillion at the end of the year 2020. To achieve this goal, the following has been done and will be pursued further. Boundary management and surveillance has been enhanced. Tourism infrastructure and products are essential in improving visitor experience and hence have huge influence on length of visitor stay and expenditure. During financial year 2018-19, a total of 1,100 kilometers of trail network and 90 bridges were maintained and 67 kilometers of trails opened in the protected areas. Government will continue to focus on human-wildlife conflict. Whenever I go to Nwoya and Rubirizi, people talk of the elephants, but the wildlife people are now building that electric fence to keep the animals away. Community engagements, resource conservation, research and ecological monitoring, and the general management of Uganda's 10 national parks and 12 wildlife reserves. Maintenance of museums and cultural heritage sites and conservation of artifacts will be prioritized. Government plans to promote Uganda's tourist attractions and reach out to more domestic and potential international tourists through participation in international tourism marketing exhibitions and regional marketing events to consolidate the gains so far realized in promoting Destination Uganda. Hire 7 marketing destination representation firms to aggressively promote Destination Uganda in the international, African, and domestic markets. C, design and construct the Equator Monument in Queen Elizabeth National Park, complete and furnish the Visitor Information Center at Sheraton. The tempo of Uganda's development is, however, interfered with by the action of corrupt public servants and political actors. That is why corruption is now public enemy number 1. Hence, the government has put in place a number of strategies to eliminate corruption and promote the principle of zero tolerance to corruption. These strategies are intended to create an even more conducive environment for good governance and the rule of law to flourish in Uganda. Government has provided more funding to the Inspectorate of Government to increase their capacity to verify the leader's declaration. And here I heard what the speaker was saying. The speaker said something. Omanye ebimubiswaza tetwagala kubyogera wano ng'akantu kayogedde akantu ako naye ekirungi bali abalala tebakategedde. We shall discuss those when we are by. But some of these people don't come. You come as observers. When I call NRM caucus, you come as observers, so that you don't miss some of these magazines. oroka ntuspeaker kayogedde awo nange nali nkawuliddeko saagala kwogera mu luzungu bannange sitake kuongea hiyo maneno kwa kizungu wale wazungu watafikiri tuko watu wa aina gani wache baki kwa lugha za hapa rafu Government has provided more funding to the Inspectorate of Government to increase their capacity to verify the leaders' declarations. The verification exercise will be increased further to crack down on public officers who have illicitly acquired wealth at the expense of effective service delivery to the citizens. Prevention of corruption has been enhanced by increasing citizen participation in the monitoring of government programs and encouraging citizens to report cases related to abuse of public office. In this regard, the government implemented the Transparency, Accountability and Anti-Corruption component in NUSAF 2, Northern Uganda Action Fund, by engaging citizens in monitoring government programs. A new unit was created headed by Lieutenant Colonel Edith Nakarema. There is a 24 hours call center where people can report bribery cases, embezzlement, land evictions, crime, etc. The unit then contacts the police and the IGG so that they handle the cases. On the side of human capital, I would like to comment on education and health. Since the elections in 2016, a total of 256 new classrooms for government primary schools have been added. This brings the total number of classrooms in permanent materials for government primary schools to 102,557. It really gives me a lot of pleasure because, when you have been around for a long time, you really enjoy some of these things. Because when we started, the government primary school classrooms were in permanent materials were 28,000. Now, we are talking of 102,000 classrooms, 102,557. These are the government primary school classrooms with permanent materials. The government primary schools are now 12,437 in total. Out of the 9,000, the Ugandans really like power. They have created so many parishes. The parishes were only 5,000. Now they are 9,000. Can you imagine? Out of 9,096 old parishes in Uganda, there is at least one primary school in 6,167 parishes. The only parishes without government primary schools are 1,100 out of the 9,000. The total enrollment of pupils in government primary schools is 7,107,000 and something. The enrollment of pupils in private schools is 1,733,000. The total enrollment, therefore, in primary schools, in government and private, is 8.8 million children. In the government primary schools, the teacher-pupils ratio is 1 teacher for 43 pupils. You go, you have got vehicles, You have got vehicles, you go and check. You have got vehicles. You have got vehicles, go and check. That's why you are given oversight role. The ministry have told me this. You go and check. You don't have to quarrel, you go and confirm. Since 2016, a total of 48 new classrooms in permanent materials have been added to the stock of classrooms for the government secondary schools. The total number of classrooms for government secondary schools is now 12,696. There are 1,194 government secondary schools with an enrollment of 679,000 students. The private schools are more. You see the wisdom of NRM. We opened, because the Wanyankole say, when you make alarm for food, you make a smaller one. So that many people don't hear and come and overwhelm the food. But when you make alarm for war, you make a big one. Now some people think that, so we made a big alarm and the private sector came. So the private sector have opened more schools than the government. The private secondary schools are 8,269 with an enrollment of 778,000. Actually, I've got more students. Fine. Those Wanyankole viewers say, wisdom can defeat strength. So we were wise and we said, let's open. Because educating, struggling with the ignorance is a war. So anybody who has got capacity, open. Open a secondary school, and there are many rich people in Uganda. You see them when you go to Kampala Road. You know, our Uganda people say, Syria umulabira kumubiri. The one who says he doesn't eat, you see him from his stomach. So the rich people in Uganda, you can see them when you stand on Kampala Road. You see how fat they are. Now, if they are so fat, why do you have to struggle with the problem of education alone? So we opened. In the colonial times, those who are old enough, there was only one private secondary school. It was called Agri Memorial. It was only one. But now you hear of 8,269 with an enrollment of 778,000 students. And these are from you people, because you have something in the pocket. So you go. Then for us, we remain with our poor people. They remain in our schools. No, we shall check on how they are passing. Our 1,100 schools of the poor, how many students are passing with good grades? You can check. The records are there. Out of the total of 1,167 old sub-counties, a total of 856 sub-counties have at least one secondary school. The sub-counties without a secondary school, government secondary school. The sub-counties without a government secondary school, each are 311. The total enrollment of students in government and private secondary schools is now 1.45 million. There are 99 government technical and vocational schools with a total enrollment of 70,000 students. The universities in Uganda are today 50, 11 of them being public universities. The total enrollment in universities is 186,000, 96,000 in public universities and 90,000 in private ones. In public universities, we have been rationalizing courses and also emphasizing science subjects, mathematics, accountancy and auditing, quantitative economics and management. The school, tertiary and university systems must create wealth and job creators, not just clerical job seekers. The total public service jobs are 470,000. These do not mean much for a population of 41 million people, that moreover will be 81 million people by 2040. It is the private sector in the form of the four sectors which I talked about, commercial, agriculture, industry, service and ICT, that will create jobs and wealth. Already, the strategic bottlenecks still around notwithstanding, industry is employing 700,000 people, service is 1.3 million people, and ICT 170,000 people. So you can see that already the non-agricultural sectors are employing 2 million Ugandans. And this is very, very encouraging, because when you are employing one person, remember he has got 5 people at home, his family. On the issue of health, there is a total of 19 referral hospitals, including Mulago. Mulago is trying to be a super specialized hospital. With some partners, we are building super specialized hospitals in Ruboa, and another one by His Highness the Aga Khan. The aim of this is to stop the hemorrhage of money to the outside. Each year, Uganda has been losing US dollars 187 million to the outside, especially India, for medical reasons. However, health is not in treatment, but in prevention. The ways of prevention are well known and cost effective. They are immunization, hygiene, nutrition, behavior change, lifestyle discipline, safe water, and vector control. Vector control, mosquitoes and all that. If you address all those aspects, 80% of the sicknesses will be eliminated. By immunizing against the 13 diseases, we have eliminated polio, measles, etc. By killing the mosquitoes with indoor spraying, killing the tsetse flies, we eliminated malaria and sleeping sickness. By just clean water, you get rid of cholera, intestinal worms, bilharzia, and the guinea worm. Prevention has been achieved through the health center 3s, There are 1,002 health center 3s in the whole of Uganda. 331 have health center 2s to be upgraded to health center 3s, and money is already found for that purpose. So that means that leaves only 132 sub-counties that are still lacking at least one health center 3. As pointed out above, safe water is part of the preventive medicine. There are now 65,000 boreholes in Uganda. My team will go to audit these boreholes. Are they working? And if not, why? Somebody must account. We are aiming at having at least one safe water source per village. Borehole, protected spring, or piped water. A total of 11.3 million Ugandans are now using piped water. Hitherto, we have been putting more emphasis on budgeting on the roads and electricity. You remember, we are not putting yet a lot of money in water because we can't do everything. For us, we believe this year we spent Uganda shillings 4,700 billion on the Ministry of Works and Transport. That is 4.8 trillion. And shillings 2.4 trillion on the Ministry of Energy, Electricity. Yet on the Ministry of Water, we spent 907 billion for both safe water for drinking and water for production. This must be understood because there is no other way. You cannot do all things at a go. That indiscipline, that confusion must get out of people's heads. When you see somebody, this one and also the other one, you know that one is not a leader. Because I have led in all situations, difficult situations, that's how we manage. The discipline of one by one makes a bundle is indispensable if we are to succeed. Kamwe kamwe nugwe muganda, the Banyankole would say. Water for drinking, water for production, water for hygiene, water for industry comes from one main source, rain. Rain itself comes from water. You know, we have got one of our very clever tribes in Africa. One of the cleverest tribes in Africa are the Basoga. The Basoga, you know, with the Banyankole, they have a lot of words. They call rain Enjura. Then they have water is Amazing. Then Amazing also has got different types. Omtunga. Omtunga is the runoff water. Then Omwejemure is the flood water. But the Basoga said this is all a waste of time. They said all those are Amadi. So you can see how clever they are. The rain is Amadi. The water running on the ground is Amadi. The water itself is Amadi. So why do you waste time? Since this is all water, so we may have to run from the Basoga. Rain itself comes from water. The rain comes from water. Yes, water comes from rain, but rain itself comes from water. Which water? Which water? You listen carefully, please. Water of the lakes, swamps, forests, rivers and oceans. The distant ones such as Indian Ocean and the Pacific. According to our scientist Mafavi, not Nandala. According to our scientist Mafavi, 40% of our rain comes from our local water bodies and wetlands, and 60% comes from the oceans. In ignorance, some of our people have been destroying the wetlands and forests. Hence, the erratic rains like the ones we saw recently. This must be stopped, and it is easy to stop. People in the wetlands and encroaching on the lake shores, river banks, etc., should peacefully leave these bodies, and we help them. And we help them with alternative livelihood, especially fish farming, which is even more lucrative than rice growing and growing yams. Besides, the good news is that we can even do agriculture without soil, what I said before, the hydroponics. Apart from interfering with the rain, cutting tree cover also causes violent wind downpours. A hunga or even a shato. A shato is the, I don't know what they call it, shato, the one which is like a snake. Cyclone. As well as landslides. It also causes soil erosion and the silting of water bodies such as lakes. Uganda should not be a country of the uninformed. It should be a country of the enlightened. The other day at Namugongo, I challenged religious leaders to extend what Christianity has been saying since 1877 when they set foot in Uganda. In Runyankwere they say, edini ekareto mshana, edini ekabingo mwima. Christianity brought light, Omshana, to Africa and chased darkness, Omwirima. Indeed, religion brought light in some aspects. My mother, an uneducated woman, rejected alcohol and the discipline that goes with it, learned how to boil milk instead of drinking it raw, which was the tradition, learned how to knit sweaters, learned how not to share cups and plates, okunywerana, appreciated education, etc. All this was on account of religion. The Christians, the Muslims and others have all contributed in some of these areas. However, there is still darkness in some of the crucial areas, such as land fragmentation on inheritance. Because these people who are fragmenting land are Christians, are Muslims. They are led by people who go to Rome and come back, who go to Canterbury, who go to Mecca, but don't bring modern, because those areas, especially Europe, They have got a lot of modern ways, like on inheritance, which I was talking about. So why wouldn't you bring that and also integrate it here among our own people? Like the issue of Poor, Mecham, Keken. Poor, Mecham, Keken. Some of these people don't know our languages. They just see in Kampala. This is Emere Yorubuto Yoka. Subsistence farming. This is Ukafiri. How can you be a Christian in the modern way and you don't know that you need to make money? And yet you need education, you need health, you need better clothing, and then you say you're a Christian. But you don't know that you need to modernize. How? Continue with the subsistence farming instead of doing commercial farming. When some do commercial farming, they do it without a chivaro, chura, aymar, otita, and attacking the environment contrary to what God had arranged. Let the religious people preach for the preservation of the environment. It is indeed a biblical commandment. In the book of Genesis, God commands man to look after the environment and not to destroy it. When you come to Kisozi, you find a huge preserved Rufunjo, papyrus swamp, with its brown, rusty brown ferric oxide water, Eberoro. If the Christians and the Muslims do not look after the environment well, they will be in darkness, or milima, worse than that of the traditional worshippers that are wrongly and arrogantly called Abakafiri. These Abakafiri were aware of God. Ruhanga, Rubanga, Katonda, Kancha, Kibumba. But they were also worshipping the mountains. You know, the traditional people were worshipping the mountains. Kangave, Kampindi, Rubama, Buyego waliwo omusambo gwa Kawumpuli, Magara, Warusi, etc. The rock outcrops, the rivers. These people were worshipping these Musamba, these spirits, which they said were living in those areas. Each area had its Musamba. Each area had its ancestral spirit. And these people were worshipping that. Not worshipping it instead of God, but in addition, because they knew God was Kancha, that is Baruri, Kibumba, Katonda, Ruhanga, Rubanga. Those people are not as... So, if the Christians and the Muslims are more enlightened, they are people of light, Omshana, Ekitangara. How can it be that you don't know what these people knew? When I was reading The War in the Royal Triangle, where almost all the people believe in the traditional religion as a supplement to the modern religion. Because for you who have never lived with the people, I really pity you. All those people, especially in some of the areas, they go to the church in the morning, but in the evening, was able to infuse the sciences. Because you see, what you should be